swing. This never happens because usually when other players do it, it's illegal. According to MLB rules, you cannot hit a fair ball twice. However, they put in a stipulation. If a broken bat hits a ball for a second time, that is fine. But the odds of this actually happening are slim to none. But with the bases loaded in Game 7 of the NLCS, Giants needed Hunter Pence to get a hit. He got jammed, broke his bat. His broken bat then hit the ball again, then somehow for a third time, creating weird spin and direction that threw off the fielder, turning what would have been a probable out or maybe double play into a 3 RBI double.
Broken equipment can cause problems in MLB. They've helped teams lose, cost teams their season. They've been used as weapons and often totally confuse everyone with strange rule stipulations. Earlier this year, in a 1 in 1 billion scenario, Justin Turner's helmet saved him from being tagged, and nobody could figure out if he should be safe or out. After this ball in the dirt, Turner broke for second and was nailed by a perfect throw. Turner was called out. However, technically, he was never tagged. His helmet was tagged. 99.9% of the time, if you get tagged in the helmet, you're obviously out. But Turner's helmet came off. Players' helmets come off running all the time. If you tagged a player's helmet that they were no longer wearing, they'd obviously be safe. But Turner's helmet was simultaneously off his head and touching his body at the moment it was tagged. This mind everybody. But the Blue Jays decided to challenge, and according to the rule, your equipment is part of your body. If you get tagged on your equipment, you are out. But equipment is only considered worn if it's in contact with its intended part. So even though Turner's helmet was touching him, because it wasn't touching his head, it legally was able to act as a shield and somehow, against all odds, actually block this tag perfectly, allowing him to be safe. Proving how important good equipment is. A good helmet will save you. A bad glove will screw you over. A broken ball can ruin everything. And a good bat is crucial. Unless you're Michael Morse, who literally hit a grand slam without a bat. In 2012, he hit a ball off a wall. He tried to go to second base, but for some reason, the runners on second and third didn't move. He ended up going back to first, making this a 375-foot single. Except the ball clearly went over the fence. The umpires reviewed it, called it a grand slam, but since the runners never ran, the umpires got confused on which bases the runners had already touched, and then just made them all go back to their original base and reenact the home run, making Michael Morse hit a home run without a bat, which is almost as rare as hitting a home run with a bat that you're not even holding. Plenty of players have thrown their bats at balls in the dirt, got extremely lucky, and got hits on pitches they had no business swinging at in the first place. But Todd Frazier did something crazier. While facing the slowest pitcher in the league, Jamie Moyer, he saw a 72-mile-per-hour changeup, was way out in front, was so off balance, he literally threw his bat at it and ended up hitting a home run. The games at the Compilation are played in sold-out stadiums, are nationally televised, and making it there is one of the biggest honors in Japanese sports. This team was 2 wins away from making it to the Compilation. They were shutting their opponents out through 4 innings. Up 3-0 facing the opponent's ace with runners on the corners, they struck him out on a nasty curveball. The defense ran off the field thinking the inning was over. Even the batter thought he was out, but his coach told him to start running, so he and his 2 teammates ran all the way around the bases and all scored, while the other team was in their dugout. This caused confusion, but the replay is clear. Since this strike 3 landed in the dirt, the drop third strike rule allows the batter to try to run to first before the catcher can tag him. Since the catcher was in the dugout, there was no one stopping him to go all the way around the bases. This tied the game, and the team who gave up the homer ended up losing 6-4, getting eliminated and ending their Compilation dream, because this is the rarest event in baseball history. Have you ever seen someone hit a home run without holding a bat? Well, it's happened in MLB multiple times. It's possible to hit a 3-run home run on a strikeout. You can win a game as a pitcher without throwing a single pitch, strike out 5 batters in 1 inning, and
and play for 2 different teams in the same game. If you go to 1,200 MLB games, you can expect to catch 1 foul ball. So when this guy got one, he was ecstatic and immediately started texting his friend. But before he could even send the text, the very next pitch was fouled off directly to him. The odds of catching 2 balls in a game is 1 in 1,440,000. But the odds of catching 2 on back-to-back pitches, according to MLB, is 1 in 10 million. Thinking this would probably never happen again, the Mariners invited him on the field, got the ball signed by the player who hit them, and let him throw out the first pitch. Then, 3 months later, something even rarer happened. This A's fan caught a foul ball in the first inning. Just 4 batters later,
he'll foul it back. And it's the same dude!
Then, just a few minutes after that,
it's amazing when you look at it.
Supposedly, the odds of catching 3 foul balls in one game is 1 in 185 million. And he did it in 1 inning. The odds that you hit a foul ball into the stands and it hits a fan is even lower. But the odds that you hit a foul ball into the stands and it hits a fan who just so happens to be your own mother is thankfully even lower. But it did happen to Denard Span in 2010. Yes, in 2010, he treated his mom to free tickets to a spring training game. He got her the best seats possible, right next to the Twins dugout in the first row. And in the first inning, he hit a screaming line drive directly at her. This was extremely serious and scary. As she was getting medical attention, Span tried to stay in the game. He struck out on the next pitch, got out his next at-bat, and decided he couldn't focus and took himself out of the game. Meanwhile, his mother took it like a champ. She refused to go to the hospital, stayed the entire game, and after the game said she was feeling amazing. She's likely tougher than most MLB players, but maybe not as tough as Hunter Pence, who fouled a pitch directly off his face, somehow developed a black eye in less than a minute, stayed in the game, and somehow got a hit and a walk with a black eye. In 1999, this play made this random lady rich. She was living paycheck to paycheck with her husband and kids. They only had 1 car. She didn't know anything about baseball and said she had never been to a game because the family couldn't afford it. But she heard about a radio contest that allowed a lucky fan to win 4 free tickets to a Diamondbacks game. She called, got selected, and won the tickets based on the listenership. But it's not the rarest play in baseball, because even though an immaculate inning is rarer than a perfect game, it's not as rare as blowing a perfect game when you only need 1 more out to get it. This is one of the rarest and saddest things that happens in the sport. There's only been 24 perfect games in history. It's the pinnacle of achievement for a pitcher. Getting one puts you in the history books forever. But there's been 14 times a pitcher needed just 1 more out to get one, then blew it on the very last batter. This guy did something even more heartbreaking. In 1989, Dave Stieb was dominating. He struck out 11 batters and was 1 out away from throwing the 14th perfect game in history. Then, on a 2-0 count, Roberto Kelly lined a double to ruin the perfect game. And it gets way worse, because just a year prior, Stieb was going for his first ever no-hitter. He only needed 3 more outs, retired the first 2 batters, then got 2 strikes on Julio Franco, who hit a routine ground ball to second base. And it randomly took the worst hop you will ever see on a baseball field. If this ball doesn't take the worst time bad hop in history, Stieb would have a no-hitter. Instead, he got nothing. But Stieb couldn't be deterred, because in his very next start, he did something even crazier. He once again took a no-hitter into the 9th inning, and for the second time in the same week, he was 1 out away. He had 2 strikes on Jim Tabor, meaning for the second time in the same week, he was 1 strike away. Tabor then hit a weak bloop single just over the first baseman's head. Stieb lost 2 no-hitters in back-to-back starts, lost them both with 2 strikes on terrible hits, in total losing 3 no-hitters on the very last out in 1 year. This is statistically unheard of, but thankfully in 1990, losing a perfect game is sad, but losing a game because of a 3-run home run on a strikeout is it's never happened in MLB, but it did happen to this even worse. And yes, hitting a 3-run home run on a strikeout is possible. It's never happened in MLB, but it did happen to this. It's never happened in MLB, but it did happen to this Japanese high school team and ruin their season. But before we get to that insanely depressing and unlikely story, a quick word from today's sponsor.